what we want to do is go back and just review real quickly. You've gone off of sugar, nicotine, and caffeine, and so what's happened is that there has been some disruption in your ability to relate to not the energy level, but the mood, how you feel. Do you understand? And so here's the program. You're asking us if you should maybe bring something back in, so we're talking about some replacements. So that we're saying, first of all, keep, particularly when you're busy thinking or busy working in the busier hours of the day, is that you want to have enough fruit in the diet and scattered out every 2 to 3 hours, so that the healthy kind of carb sort of sugar helps keep the insulin endocrine mood level more happy. Okay?
Yeah.
This is a replacement. These are replacement ideas. Okay?
Yeah.
And as we said, the sugar is actually the harder of the things, because it most deeply affects the mood. So that's what we've discussed about the sugars. Okay? The apple juice, the grape juices, something like that. It can be low-cal if you want, okay? Particularly with the grape. But the apple, just good straight apple juice, generic, over-the-counter. You don't have to get the best unless you wish that. And by scattering it out throughout the day. Now, a half an hour after you eat your little apple or drink your little juice, if you feel like you're losing your clarity, or the mood feels a little slightly depressed, is we would suggest as much as we say a full cup of a green tea, the very best green tea you can buy.
Yeah.
And so what your day begins to sort of look like is, separate from your meal schedule, is a mood-lifting, mental clarity routine of apple replacement, of the apple, and then in between the apple snack, or we're saying no sooner than a half an hour after your apple, if you need a green tea, then drink a whole green tea. And see if that sustains your mental clarity, but mostly your mood. See if that sustains your mood, but don't forget your next apple. You have to schedule those into your day. And we think that in a couple of weeks that you might at some point say, I really don't need that green tea right now. No more than 3 green teas. We're going to say, try to develop the habit of not starting your day with any caffeine, but use it like as a mid-morning and mid-afternoon picker-upper.
Yeah.
Because those are the most difficult times. So it could be, and you'll allow the stress and the speed to bring your clarity. As soon as you walk into the job or sit down to do your different ideas or whatever, but it's the middle of the morning where you have a little slump.
Yeah.
And that's when the mood feels wrong. And that's when, if your apple didn't pick you up, slam a green tea. Chug a green tea. Have a nice little warm tea and a little break. And this will pick up the mental clarity and act as the sugar and the caffeine replacement. Now, with the nicotine, we would suggest that you continue resisting those urges. And we think that these 2 ideas will cause those urges to grow less. On the other hand, if you become so discouraged that you must, or feel like you must, we would think to go ahead and buy like some nicotine gum, like maybe the 2 milligram type. And you could keep them with you for the next 6 months. And if you felt of something very stressful or was very tired, then you could chew a little nicotine gum, and then you'd actually get to feel the impact of the nicotine without inhaling the smoke. And we think that with your discipline and your training, and with the first two things, we think pretty soon you might even forget where you left the nicotine gum at. Or you could do a patch if you wanted, but nothing where you have to go to the doctor. So we think that if you started doing this immediately, like immediately get yourself a green tea and an apple right now, and then start into what we're suggesting, we think in a couple of weeks you'll forgotten all of those things. And they were complicated because they were necessary because of the high pressure you had to sustain, but now they're starting to block, but you're transitioning from into more of a sustained effort and less significant real-world fear, stress. Do you understand? Yeah. So this is the strategy that you've changed, you've learned, you've changed, you've grown your business, you've improved your personal life, and so you came to an important moment ago, and these things are now starting to block me, but how do you transition more smoothly? And this is what we think would best help.
Yes.
Where the habits would be a little bit healthier or not quite as severe.
Right.
And it's very important sometimes that you still need some nicotine when the stress level reaches a certain point. And we would suggest the patch or the gum. But don't use them as a replacement, only in those high pressure stress moments, and then stop again.
I gotcha.
You have about, 4 of those each week?
Yeah.
Where you have to, you want to get this sale, or you've got to handle this difficult, angry customer. And you see, before these events occur, that's when your cravings are worse.
Yeah.
And that's when you could put your patch on or your little gum, or do your little gum. We think that'd be the easiest. And then you go, okay, I felt what that did for me. That kind of picked me up a little bit. Now I'm going to review what I got to do. You go in there and you do it, and then you go, okay, I don't need any more the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Because your day has these boring moments of busy paperwork, very careful, clear instructions, and then it has these spikes of anxiety that most people in your business don't learn how to handle correctly, and that's what breaks them down. The calmness, then the spike, and then they actually get angry with their clients or whatever.
Right.
So you're preparing yourself to deal with the spikes you know are coming up.
Right.
Does that help?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We also want to add that the 3 addictions that you've described, none of them block a person's spiritual growth. Now they can, particularly the smoking, can severely impact one's physical well-being. But you see, all that is these addictions are finessing one's body chemistry.
Yes.
And everyone does that, even, and it's like there's different ways, or some things can be a replacement, but all they are is finessing the body chemistry. But it's much more important to learn emotional respect and dignity than it is to live a totally non-addictive product existence.
Right.
And the spiritual path and what you'll review is how you handled emotional difficulties and emotional respect to other people. And you will spend hardly any time reviewing some of these little habits. Even great yogis have had what you would call negative addictive habits.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like that's just the fiddling with one's body chemistry, and it's kind of almost fun, It's like, and even sex is an experiment in how one's body chemistry feels, along with other things,
Right.
And that's all, because those things will all pass away and be forgotten, unless you did one to the point of destroying yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like there are great masters that died of lung cancer or that smoked themselves to death, or there are great masters that got very fat. There are great many people don't agree that, or don't even recall that Buddha was not a vegetarian. Buddha was a meat eater for all of his life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does this help?
It helps a lot. Yes. I
Apple,
appreciate the explanation.
yeah, and
I
again,
sure would like to smoke.
yeah, we think that very quickly this is. We think we think it'll take about a day and a half for this program to enforce your discipline. And it again is the sugar that's the most complicated, because when the blood sugar begins to dip, that's when the craving or the itch for the smoke, which actually speeds up the heart a bit.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and so biochemically these things will replace all of that. And if you still want some craving, chew a little gum, and then pretty soon you'll go, I don't like that quite as much. And then you'll quit.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Try it. And today, actually, you could have you could have 4 green teas today, or maybe 3.
I just drank a cup of coffee, and I feel much better.
Yeah. And so we want to say, tone it down on the coffee and use the green teas for the little pickup. And we think you'll like that very well.
Okay.
And that is along with the other things like exercising a bit and that. And we think that pretty soon you're going to be back into premium, moving back towards premium health. Everything's improving. Okay. And along with that is the meditation and the dance that we teach. And that's the package you've been desiring, putting together with the other things that you know.
Yes. Thank you.
All right. We salute you.
Thank you.
In 3 weeks, we want to hear about how great you now feel.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, bye-bye.